I get in
So
my bag.
let's jump into this icebreaker, man. Again, we're gonna do this or that. We're gonna try to hit nine different questions today for a circle of full completion. So the first one, do I need to go over the rules? I think I need to go over the rules with y'all. So we're gonna do A or B. The first one that I say, Yusha, is the A. The second will be the B. We will not play in the middle. We're doing black or white, A or B. I'm gonna count down three, two, one. Provide your answer. If we feel like we need to break anything down, feel free to. So the first one is:
Oh, we got permission today.
would
Okay.
you rather bedside Baptist or in-person experience? Bedside Baptist, quote unquote, or in-person experience? Three, two, one. Cool. Okay. Unanimous. So it looks as if we all desire that community, man. That's dope. That's dope.
Wish I had more time for it.
Second one, NKJV Bible or the New King James Version Bible or modernized translations. So again, the NKJV, New King James Version Bible or modernized translations. Three, two, one.
So we choosing between they, thou, theists, thouest.
Okay, so we have a split decision. We have Yusha and Ali who prefer the traditional New King James Version versus myself and Colin who prefer the modernized. I'm curious. I want to ask the question of why you guys prefer the NKJV.
I'll go first. I think sometimes things get distorted over time, and I like to get as close to origination as possible. So yeah, that's really much why.
Dope, dope. What about you, Yush?
Um, Mine is really just connected to rhythm. It actually took me a long time as a kid to understand the rhythm of the King James Version and how to read it in flow. And now that I have that rhythm and that flow, I stick with that. Really, it's all I know too. I've never owned a more contemporary version of the Bible, so I do have that flow. But to be honest, I prefer the Ethiopic version of the Bible and the American translation of the Ethiopic version.
Okay. I get into that one day.
What about you, Colin? Why did you choose?
Yeah. My ultimate choice would be like if I can literally translate the original Greek and Greek and Hebrew myself, that would be my ultimate choice, right? And to that point about Ali about getting the closest to the original thing. So when I'm reading and listening to commentary, I'm listening to people who are translating the original text. What I found in some of the modern translations, and you got to be careful with those too. You got to make sure you're using the ones that have been the most vetted and accurate. But a lot of those, that's what they're doing. They're like doing they're seeking out to do a better job of translating from the original context. A lot of them have cliff notes and footnotes about the historical context of why these statements or why what was happening is relevant at the time. So for me, it just gives me, I'm big on context. So it just gives me more context to what I'm reading and why. And the story reads different with that context a lot of times. So a lot of modern versions have those kind of additional tools and pieces in there to help bridge that gap for me. That's pretty much why.
Dope. Respect. All right. Next question. Traditional prayer or meditation? Traditional prayer or meditation? Three, two, one.
Ooh.
I was pretty surprised. It seems as if we have all decided to go through with or to decide on traditional prayer. I was personally surprised that my brother Ali did not choose meditation, only because I know that is something that is regular for you.
Yeah, nah. When I was originally conflicted, but when I heard when I heard God, to be honest with you, because it was from the context of when I'm seeking God, versus when I'm seeking a sort of answer, direction, or clarity. Slightly different for me. So I prefer when I'm doing that to be more of a traditional posture, and I get a lot more out of when I'm worshiping and praising and exalting His name when I do it. So that's why I chose it.
Okay, listen to you, boy.
Come on.
Listen
Hey,
to how you got your wife. I see
hey
it.
Sean, when you said traditional prayer, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, so I really kind of did not want to go into detail because I was curious to see, what popped in all of our minds.
Hmm.
When I think of traditional prayer, I think of being in full submission, which typically is on your knees or on the floor, like on the ground.
Uh,
When I
okay.
think of traditional prayer.
Yeah. See, I chose my answer based off so when I meditate, and this might align with what you said, Ali, I'm more like in a listening posture, looking for clarity. When I'm praying, I'm more in like conversation. And so my mind for traditional prayer went to like me and God just talking. And I like to do that all day, every day. Although I do like to meditate as well, but that's different season. Which is why I kind of feel like you usually. I was kind of like, both, but
I mean, if true, both, well, all the religions in a sense really ask you to do both, right? One, I believe that prayer is worship, right? God don't need prayer. It ain't for him. It's really for us. And so prayer is, I think through prayer we worship and we also get ourselves in tune with whatever it is. So prayer is like an affirmative thing that we do where we thank and praise God and then speak our needs and put our requests in and just kind of tune ourselves. But our meditation part of the prayer, where even the scriptures ask that, like after you pray, like listen to God. So that is meditation, sitting still, finding a place to calm yourself where you can hear your internal, because God is really inside of us too. So that making that space for that is part of prayer for me.
Okay. Next one. Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr.? Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr.?
sheesh.
3, 2, 1. Boy! All right. So it looks, even with some apprehension, it looks as if we're unanimous in deciding on Malcolm X. I would just ask you, Ali, specifically, did you struggle with that decision?
Yeah, I did. I think people get Martin Luther King twisted, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of ways you can skin a cat and manipulate and get what you want. And if people really know who MLK was, he was a master of that. But I'm talking about in terms of times we are in. If I had to, if just based upon where we are right now, I'm more so choosing Brother Mike. He actually was somebody I saw as a inspiration when I was a kid, right? But as I got older, MLK and Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, and then when you do research on all of those people, right, you find out that like they really wasn't as non-violent as people want to make it seem. So
It was a
that's
strategy.
why I struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I didn't hate the question, but I kind of dislike the question because it lends into the age-old separatism between Black leaders, right? So Malcolm X, Martin Luther, Booker T. Washington, and W.E.B. Du Bois,
Marcus
Marcus Garvey
Garvey.
at the time. And who was Marcus Garvey? I forget. I'm having a brain fart, but it was Marcus Garvey was separated from somebody else. So it's like throughout history, we have these leaders who are both saying something that's good for the Black community, but instead of saying, hey, we're one side of the same coin, some people's like, man, you got to be like Booker T. Washington and just work, or you got to be like W.E.B. Du Bois and go to college. And it's like, yo, we need both in the community, and we need those two leaders to come together. And I think we needed that for Malcolm and Martin as well.
I think this is a great segue into today's topic, bro. Like, to be honest with you, in terms of how we are coming together, how we need to come together, even though we have 2 different or 100 different religions, and what all of that really means synonymously, bro. To be honest with you, this is my thought on it. You said something that really.
I just thought it was interesting. All the alphas, none of the alphas picked Martin Luther King. I was like, God dang.
I mean, bro said,
He said, forget all
well,
y'all.
when we picked Martin Luther King, it sounded like, we're picking his strategy. And even Martin said before he died, I feared that my strategy was wrong. I feared that I was walking my people into a burning house. We got to lean into Malcolm's strategy, which isn't necessarily Malcolm's ending strategy wasn't separatism, but his ending strategy was we still need to figure out how to do for self.
I'm glad you said ending, because his strategy was very different throughout his life.
Yeah, his ending.
With that being said, not to detract from the conversation and where we're going, I'm gonna take the cue from Ali, and we'll transition into the topic today.